I don't understand why some people do that.
We had the same thing in back shop. We had a civilian sector that would come in and work on the aircraft. You know, we the way that fighters and planes in general, they have an hourly rating. So like every 200 hours, there were these major inspections. You'd have to
check the airframe, pull apart things
out of circulation. They'd have to go into back shop, these big hangars, and they would tear them down and look at the infrastructure and how, you know, do we have hairline fractures and all of this kind of stuff, right? And so
you know, Robert worked on not 15s.
16s?
No, yeah. What's the ones that catapulted off of the?
Oh, that'd be Navy.
Navy. Yeah.
So
he was
F-18s, like
F-18s. Yeah,
we don't have a lot of ships in the Air Force, man.
I couldn't remember what it was, dude. I don't know. We didn't have anything cool in the guard. If we were lucky, we had expired MREs, bro. That's all we had. No, he did avionics. So he was talking about that.
Okay,
like that,
yeah.
Because he did the same thing. Like every so many hours, they would just take it downstairs and then they just erect a set, just tear it apart into little pieces. And I'm like, that would be so frustrating.
I'd be afraid of breaking it more. Like when I take things apart, I just break it more.
I always have extra
Probably why
parts.
I did not do mechanics. Yeah.
I put it back together and I'm like, what are these?
Yeah.
My buddy's like, put those in your pocket.
Yeah, this screw's probably
Well,
on.
that's what the ASVAB's for, right?
Jesus. God. Oh.
Which is funny because, like, in high school, in middle school, like, I sucked at math. I suck so bad. It's not that I couldn't do it; I just didn't like it.
Were you just bored?
But anyway, so I took my ASVAB and everything, and I got to pick like what jobs I would like ideally.
Yeah,
but it didn't matter. And then at the end of the day, they're like, "Congratulations, you go do finance." I was like, You might want to rate check those scores. Like, you sure you want me to do that?
See, I was
the right guy.
I was homeschooled, so I never took an ASVAB in school. I never got to take one. So when I enlist, I was homeschooled.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you don't do it. You don't take a placement test. I never took the SATs.
I thought you took that.
I never
at
took.
MEPS.
No, hold on. That's what I'm saying. I never took one in high school. In high school, they always come to the high school when you're like a senior, and you do that with part of
I
your
remember doing that
your
in high
PSATs and all
I don't
that
know
other
that
stuff.
It was mandatory. If you were interested in going into the military, then you could
had
take
the
like a
option.
pre-ASVAB kind of thing.
Yeah, because I don't
just to
remember
kinda get a
doing
sense.
that in high school. I mean, maybe I did. Who knows? I didn't pay a lot.
So when I finally took mine, I'm like, I had nothing to base it off of. And this is years later. I joined in, we talked about this before, 2013. So, I mean, I'm 38. I was the oldest dude at basic, right? And I was like, because I grew up in a very small religion. I'm sure we'll probably eventually talk about religion tonight. I grew up in a very small religion. You didn't serve your country. You didn't join the military. In fact, the reason why I was eventually kicked out of my religion was because they, quote, found out I had joined the military. I'm like, you guys suck because I've been posting crap on Facebook for like 5 years now.
We don't believe in the internet either.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't.
We don't believe in Facebook.
They're like, are you aware that there's pictures? I'm like, aware? They're called selfies. How do you think?
I posted them.
Yeah. I'm like, apparently the reason why I got found out was like all of my stuff, nobody followed me.
Yeah.
All of my stuff was on my private page. I had joined the Honor Guard, and we went and did the Van Zant County Memorial and that was the coolest thing. I would have stayed in the military just to stay Honor Guard because that was such a cool job.
I hated honor guard douches. I'll just be honest.
I'll tell you why I loved it, though.
The little black ropes and everything. It was like,
The thing I loved about it so much was that I'm an extrovert, okay? And we got to really talk to and meet veterans and meet them on the like I've always told you guys, I don't classify myself as a veteran. I never left the state of Texas. I was never deployed. I never did anything in combat. I literally rode around with the chaplain to make sure he didn't get lost and like passed out bottled water to guys in the field and helped him with Sunday service. But when I got to meet these guys that have like no legs from Vietnam, and we did like memorial services, and I mean, I would just pop a knee in my dress blues and just be like, I would love to hear your story. And these guys, it's a different conversation. You know, when you meet somebody and you're like, thank you for your service, and they shake your hand, whatever. But when you're in a uniform to a guy at that setting, it's a whole different story. And it was so cool. And they didn't talk about the gore or anything else. They talked about the memories. And I'm like, I'm with you. Now that I'm out, I go, that's what I miss.
Yeah.
I don't like on Sunday, my kid's birthday party is a Sunday. I hope you both come. Please both come. my best friend from basic training is coming down. And I told my wife, I'm like, you have to tell me to stay focused on everybody else.
Yeah.
And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, because I know what it's going to be like. It's Dylan and I are going to just be attached at the hip like two little Siamese twins.
Going down memory lane.
She hates it when he comes down because like we go out to dinner and I turn my back to her and I'm like, I'm just talking to Dylan the whole time and I'm like, oh dude, you gotta try this. We're like eating off each other's forks and stuff. She's like, you guys are such a cute little couple when you go out. But that's what I miss.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the only reason why I got out is like I had a couple friends that got out, so it's like, oh, it was easy. But now, dude,
Well,
every day I miss it.
I'll tell you. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. You're the guest.
Yeah.
You listen to me.
I cut him off all the time. He just yells at me.
My wife and I have this conversation fairly often about life relationships, people that we have relationships with. You know, we were only in the military for 4 years, but every single one of those.
Were you both in the reserves together or just you?
We were both in the reserves together.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know how that works. Like when you have kids, if you can still be in the reserves with kids, or if one
the
has to be
reserves,
home.
It's once a month, yeah, and it was at the same it was at the same base, and we just had the same weekend.
Was it required at the time when you finished your 4 years? You do 2 years in the reserves?
No, no.
did?
It was a transition
that's
for us.
That's required in the Army.
The reason because we could have just gotten out, but we wanted that transition. We wanted to have that going from military life to
Soft
civilian
transition.
world again, still having some income or something while we're looking for jobs and all of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't you go into something with aircraft? I guess this is kind of always my question with Air Force guys.
Yep.
You were in finance. I understand why, and you dabbled in finance after your military career. But like, I always wondered why people that worked on aircraft, why you didn't stay in that field. Maybe that's the wrong term. I have friends that when they got out, they worked with aircrafts. And they ended up working for like L3.
Well, just because you end up doing it in the military
and
doesn't mean it's your passion or what you enjoy. It's what they just.
It's really more of a passion
that's-
thing.
okay,
Because
that's true.
a lot of the guys that I served with would get their A&P license, their aircraft and platform
Sure.
license, so that they
It's
can
not like
work.
there's a lot of F-15s in the civilian
Well,
market.
right, but
So
there's a lot of that transfers into the civilian realm. You know, there's a lot of the same type of things that you can that just transfer. And so if you get that license, you can get an aviation job in the civilian realm. And in fact, you can be a civilian working on a military base.
Right,
'cause
right.
we had that.
yeah, we had a
People
lot of guys that
doing
worked with
back shop and
L3
things
that
like
were
that.
civilians. Yeah.
And so a lot of the guys would do that. You know, just like, this is an easy transition. I already know this stuff. It's a lot less complicated because
My commander was the vice president of Bell Helicopter.
Yeah, a lot of the training you've already done will go towards that degree, and so it's just less you got to do than somebody coming right out of that's green getting their A&P license.
So
right?
was it more like you were looking for the fresh start?
I was kind of done with the aircraft scene.
I got you.
Now I've always had a mechanical aptitude, and so in fact, when I got out, I actually got a job for International building school buses because they had just started a new plant in Tulsa where we moved back to because that's originally where I'm from, and so I worked for them for about 5 years, and then from there, I had my GI Bill and got it. Decided I wanted to work on motorcycles, so that's
cool.
what caused us to go to Phoenix because MMI was out. They had 2 campuses.
What's MMI?
Motorcycle Mechanics Institute.
Oh, I remember the old commercials. Yeah.
What?
So they
Yeah,
had,
the old TV commercials late at night. Yeah.
and you have Wyotech, which is like more automotive, which is up in
Yeah.
Wyoming. But they had 2 campuses, one in Phoenix and one in Orlando. And Orlando was really more personal watercraft kind of based. And I was
Okay.
like, I really want to be more in the motorcycle scene.
I should have brought my new bike over to see you then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miss
We're
all
always
the good
working on
times.
motorcycles over there.
I didn't know that.
Anyway, so
I learned something new about my friends. That's the best part about doing this. Is
I
like
know,
you
right?
find out
just
so
throw
many
this-
new things.
This random question, and it's like, oh yeah, I know all about that.
Oh, that's cool.
But to segue back,
Yeah.
because I know we're going to rabbit trail all the time. Somebody says something. Even though I was in the military for only 4 years, our relationships with those people, with our military friends, are people that we can call 10 years from now
I can
and
pick up
right at,
immediately where you left off.
which is really interesting, right? Like what other relationship kind of situation, like maybe some
I have some of
college
that.
friends,
I
right?
have
You
some
can
of
do
that with my fire buddies.
Well, who else can you call and be like 5 years after you talked to him last, be like, "Hey, asshole."
Yeah.
Yeah, just start your conversation like that.
and just like
My-
start off where you left off.
my fire guys are like that. Like I have no doubt in my mind if I texted Weber right now and I said, "Hey man, got a minute to talk," it wouldn't be like oh, how you doing, everything
Because
else. He
it's
would
a
pick up the
very-
phone and be like,
Yeah.
"What's
It's
up?"
a very
Like, what are you
similar
doing?
camaraderie.
It is. It is a. I hate to say brotherhood because I also served with some women in the fire department, and they're equally the same. I could call firefighter Campbell, Bianca. I could call her right now. I still have her number, and she would pick up and immediately where we left off, be like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" And she would remember my. I think that's the real take. They would remember your life story. They know you on a different level.
Right, exactly.
That's the thing.
I think it's a couple of things. I think it's one, being in the military, you're a tight knit unit. First of all, you're trained to be a part of a team, right? And so you're in it thick and thin, no matter what. And you're
You've
forced.
seen
You're kind
each
of
other
forced
at
into
your
the
best
situation.
and
You can't just
worst.
be like in the civilian where you're like, yeah, screw you, I'm quitting this job, right?
Right.
You can't just do that. You're going to have to figure out how to work with these people.
Even when you get
And you're all
reassigned, it's the
you're
same
all
thing.
put in a foreign situation.
right.
Like
But you
very
have-
rarely are you stationed like at the town you live in. Like
Right.
how does that happen?
There's going to be a lot of things that are foreign to you, but the thing that draws you all together is the mission, right?
Yep.
Right.
We're all pointing in the same direction. We're all here for the same reason. And when you go TDY and you go to these deployments and all of these other things, and you're going kind of through the thick and thin with these people. Just like it, I think it's because of the seriousness of why we're all together that really draws us closer together. Like
You have to rely
firefighters or
on each other.
policemen, you're just like, you've gone through some stuff before. Even, I would say, even if you're not in like a wartime situation, you still have some of that. But definitely, if you're going through if you've been a part of any kind of like real world kind of situation stuff, that's really, draws you close and tight. Like those brothers that are tighter than blood kind of situations.
I have something to add to that.
Yeah.
No. Keep going. Keep going.
All I was
'cause-
going to say is, just to kind of finish that up, is like, just to kind of come back to, I've got a handful of guys that I served with that I know if they called me up or I called them up, we would just, if they needed something, I'd be like, hey, I'm in the truck, I'm heading your way. And it's not expected. It's not an obligation. It's a desire to help your fellow, service guys out.
It is ingrained in you.
It is. Well, I mean, it's something that because you were part of something that was bigger than yourself. You had this mission, and you're all kind of.
It is the true
Focused on
definition of selfless service.
Yeah.
Because you're not serving a country; you're serving each other.
Right. So
it's
that's
when
the other
you're.
thing. It's like we're all in this crap boat together, right? Like
The shit
let's work
sandwich.
Yeah. It's like we're all in the same.
Yeah.
So
When you've been
let's make this
shivering at
work.
2:00 in the morning with no sleep and no food and everything else, and the only thing you have for comfort is each other's body temperature. I mean that. Like,
Wait, you did that in the Guard?
yes,
You poor guy.
I had frostbite on my toes.
Air Force.
Yeah. Now Dylan and I and it's also kind of funny because I went through some really.
I never shivered in my hotel rooms.
Oh,
I'm just
man.
telling you.
I went through some really.
Just turn the air conditioner
Yeah, just
down.
turn it up.
It's getting a little cold in here.
I went through some really dark times in the military just because I was also, as a fireman, I had some life experiences that were very tormentory. Like I don't have any PTSD from the military because I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I legitimately was diagnosed with PTSD from an occurrence that happened in the fire service. And as equally as my fire family was there for me, my military family was. Because one weekend of the month, you're with those people. At the time, I was also single, so you don't have a spouse to help share some of that mental and emotional load. So you naturally offload on each other. Also, it was kind of a way to decompress, right? Same thing. Like, I liked being a weekend warrior because you got to leave the problems at home. I was a single dad, divorced with 3 kids. And one weekend a month, I'm not going to say I didn't think about my kids. It's not that. I got to leave those problems at home. and I got to go out and do something else. And then when I was there, that was my chance to vent. Like my wife always jokes about it. She's like, I bet when you hang out with your friends, all you do is like, like bitch and complain about your wife and blah, blah, blah. I tell them like, no, I don't. And I tell them like, and the reason is, it's not that I don't have complaints or anything. It's just like when you're around another group of men, and we've talked about this countless times on the podcast or just privately as friends, you start to offload other things, whether it's like with you, and I'm like, these are things maybe religiously that I'm thinking about or dealing with or trying to come to terms with or grasp, or relationship wise. I had to like offload onto you the other day because I just quit my job. Today was my last day at my job, and I'm taking a huge leap of faith. I'm trying something new, and it's scary. I told him like those are the things you. Those are the things you look for other men for.
But here's the thing. Like we talked about this, like on one of our earlier episodes. Like you don't complain to your wife about your life. You just don't do it.
I complain to her about the things that I think she'd care about. I don't talk to her about the things that are in my head. You're not gonna cry
in front of her though.
Exactly.
Right?
I don't talk to her about the things that are emotionally stressing.
Really, what I'm getting at is like, unless you're in the right circle with men, no one gives a fuck. Mm-hmm. No one cares. Nobody cares.
Society.
And so that's why these bonds with like your military friends and everything are so strong, because you've experienced it. They care. They care because they share the same trauma as you, right? Yeah. And so
what does Lucy say? Trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding.
I love that. My 13-year-old daughter in the Civil Air Patrol, she always talks about that. I'm like, I don't know if she coined that phrase or heard it from somebody else. All my years in the military, I'd never heard that.
Give her credit for it.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's so it.
But that's why those connections last so long, because you share that connection. If I go to working and bitch about my life, no one cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
because we're men. Nobody cares.
You go and have a drink with your friends, and you talk about stuff. And you're like, oh, this is fun, but they're not the people you unpack your stuff with.
No,
because you're right, they don't care.
Yeah.
To the point I was saying, I have something to add to that.
Yep.
I've always heard this expression, and I always pass it off. But then Skip, whom we all know and love.
You know Skip?
Yeah,
I know. Skip. Yeah.
One of my favorite human beings on the face of this planet. He actually
needs to come on our show.
Yes, he actually told me the origins of this quote, and when he told me, I went from like, I'm not going to say that I didn't care about the quote before, but when he told me about it, I was like, wow, that is so much deeper. We've all heard the phrase, blood is thicker than water. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I've always understood that as like the bond between me and my physical brothers, my two older brothers, is stronger than anything else. Right? That's what I think we would all say that means, right? And he's like, no, that's wrong. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, skipping. He's like, well, actually, the original quote is longer, as most quotes are, and they shorten it. The original quote is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
The water of what?
The womb. Mm. And I told him, I said, wait a second, you mean that means the complete opposite? And he goes, exactly. I was like, well, hold on. Like, it was completely life-changing to me. He goes, literally what that means is your physical brothers, the water of the womb, is not nearly as deep a connection. And I have a very deep connection with my brothers. I'm not going to say it's less so, but he is right. What I have gone through with like my buddy Dylan, the blood of that covenant of the military service, or the friends of mine from a religious standpoint, or the friends of mine that I've made, where we have gone through different things together. My buddy Weber and I, on a different level, I do feel are more deeply connected than my brothers and I ever were. Well, and I'm like, that's the blood of that covenant, because you said, you're serving something bigger than yourself. It goes deeper. I'm related to these people. That doesn't mean that we really know or understand each other. We just understand each other's upbringing or life experiences. But he's like, these people, and like you were talking about, like, oh, I would never cry in front of my wife. I'm not going to say I've never cried in front of my wife, and I'm not going to say I'll never cry again. But you're right. There is a different aspect versus Weber. I have full on broken down in front of him from horrible calls that we've gone on where I'm like, I have to unpack this. My buddy Dylan and I, when I come to a drill weekend, and I'm like, dude, I need like 20 minutes. My buddy Nick, love him to death. Big shout out. I posted on Facebook last night. I was like, hey, Nick Sander, you'll probably see it on my Facebook. I posted a thing. I was like, oh, my son's selling raffle tickets, and I blah, 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 blah. He and I served together in the Guard years ago. Okay, we're just friends on Facebook. And out of the blue, he's like, hey, give me your Venmo. I'll buy $40 in raffle tickets. Help your kid be, whatever, king, homecoming king or whatever. And so then we started texting privately off the side. I'm like, dude, how are you? I miss you and blah, blah, blah. And you're right, picked up immediately where we left off. And I will never forget, there was a time in my life I got really, really low. And Nick and I, on a drill weekend, we went out to the parking lot, and he was like, hey, come on, man. Like, you need a little time. Let's go by ourselves. And we sat in the back of his pickup truck and drill weekend in our fatigues, and he popped open a cooler, and we had a 6-pack of beer in the back of his truck. And one of the officers walked by, and he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And all Nick said is, he's having a rough time, sir. And the officer goes, carry on, and walked off. And it was like, I'm like, we were totally in the wrong. We totally could have been in trouble and everything else. But I'll tell you, I know now that no matter what happens and I feel the same way with y'all. I really do mean this. I have no doubt in my mind that if I called you, or I called Robert, or I called Doc, or any of these people, and I'm like, hey, I'm having a really bad day. Not just stress or work or money or kids or like whatever it is. That little expression that comes from the military service where I always get it wrong when they're like, when the demons come for you, brother, call me and we'll fight them together. That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Sometimes all you need is somebody to sit there with you. And I told my wife, like last night, I literally was on the couch getting like misty eyed.
I didn't get a phone call from you.
No. Just having a friend reach out and be like, over like it's something as stupid and trivial as a couple of raffle tickets for my kids. It's not about the $40, Nick. It has nothing to do with that. And I texted him. I was like, hey man, I love you. Like I just want you to know, like, I'm good and I miss you and I hope you're good. And he's like, I love you too, man. Hope you're good. Blah 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 blah. And I went on. I told my wife, I'm like, man, I told her last night. I was like, I've got some good friends. And she's like, you do. Everybody loves you. I was like, no, I understand. I'm liked, or I'm like, it's a different thing. And I'm like, I've got some really good friends. That is my favorite thing about this podcast, is that long after I'm gone, long after we're gone, I hope that our kids get to watch this and go, man, I've got friends like that too. Because family brings you into life. Friends get you through it. And I genuinely want you guys to know, like, this means so much to me on a deep emotional level, to know that I have people that it's also like people that encourage me. Like, you do it all the time. I can't tell you how many times after a podcast he'll like berate me, literally berate me. And guys, I want you to know this. Like,
he
it legitimately happens.
He grew up a chicken farmer yet this whole episode.
You know what?
So I'm very proud of him.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about that. I do. Like, I bring it up all the time. Like, Andre was on here.
Yeah.
You and Andre were on last time, and you guys are very scientifically minded. And I'm going to say it. Don't get on to me. I grew up. I'm the son of a chicken farmer.
Bitch.
Right? And I tell people all the time, like, yeah, I went to school and I worked on an ambulance and all this other stuff and whatever. I served in the military and I did stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I tell them, I'm like, I'm not a really, my wife tells me all the time, she's like, you're one of the smartest people I know. And I'm like, I understand that, but like, I'm not educated. So when they started talking about stuff, I always throw it out there. I'm like, hey guys, sorry, I'm a son of a chicken farmer. Dumb this down for me.
Street smarts, right?
He does.
He does.
You can assess a situation and you can blend in. I think too, maybe this whole blood is thicker than water kind of thing too is from a family standpoint, there's almost an obligation to love your family, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas the family that you make, the ones that you have a complete
family
choice in
has
that,
to
right?
love you.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Family has to love
Well,
you because
good
you're family.
family. Good family
like
has
the,
to.
like
Yeah,
the,
that's
the
true.
kingship and stuff like that. You had like siblings killing each other off because they want, it's just so they
Right.
could be in line for the. It wasn't like they
But
were
your
tied to
second
their
in
brother
command
and
you
sister,
served
right?
with would have died for you.
But it's right because you don't have this tie, but you both have decided to have a friendship.
Yeah.
Is because there you got a dog in the you have to put forth the effort to bring this relationship together as opposed to family members. Like
Yeah.
that's an easy. We're family, right? And there's an obligation there to cooperate with one another. But when you get to choose who your friends are and stuff, that's a whole nother level because it's like you guys are going to share some things that are way more real,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
That's true.
Than anything you may, and that's not to take away from family members because there's definitely, tight knit families.
They have their roles. Yeah.
No, they do. They do.
There's families out
My-
there that
my
are like, wow,
friends encourage-
they are really close.
I had a conversation recently with people at work, and they were talking about siblings.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating here. I remember thinking, holy shit, I do have a sister.
Yeah.
Right? Like she is so different from me in every way. Grew up together that like we never even talk. She's up in Michigan, never even talk. And I don't talk about her. I don't know if she talks about me. I probably traumatized her, so I think I talk about it. She talks about me more than I talk about her. And it's like, damn. You're right. It is totally different than the connections you build with when you're I hate to use trauma bonding again, right? But I think it's suitable.
that's
Like
the
when you're
most
basic
appropriate-
training,
Yeah.
high intensity situations like the sitting in the box on like an ambulance or something. That's when you build your ties, relationships, because that's when you're at your weakest, you're most vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that's when you're building those relationships with those people. But
when my oldest brother passed away, my wife, I think the most like hard thing to deal with is my wife kept telling me over and over. She's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because I was not okay, but I was outwardly okay, right? And I told her, I was like, "I'm good, like I'm okay." And she's like, "How are you okay?" That was the most painful thing.
I don't know yet, but leave me alone.
Well, no, and you know what I told her? I was like, I only lost one brother. I have like 15 more. And I mean that because like I did not know until that moment how many brothers I really had. And it's not like, oh, well, if you didn't show up at the funeral, no, it's not that. Like since then, I have actually gotten closer to other people.
Yeah.
And that to me, I'm like, that's what I think most men are lacking. That's why we wanted to do this. It's like men these days, like you said, you go to work, you think you have relationships and you don't. Today I quit my job and I had everybody came out of the woodworks today. My job loved me. I had my manager, other managers, people I worked with. They're like, oh, we're going to miss you and all this other stuff. And I have really good friends. I hope I still
But if you
keep some of
called
those
them 6 months
relationships.
from now,
Yeah, and all of them, like today, there's lots of like, and my boss, he called me and I told my wife, I was like, man, it's so bittersweet, but like my boss called me the other day and he
wait,
was,
you mean to your boss? You mean the guy directly over you, or like the owner of the company?
my boss.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, I just want you to know, he's like, I don't say this to everybody. He's like, I hope this works out for you because it's an amazing opportunity. And I am so excited for it. He goes, but I just want you to know, I don't tell everybody this. If it doesn't work out, you call me, you have your job back. He's like, right. And I told my wife, I'm like, that means a lot. You know, I mean, but you're
It's
right.
good, but it's bad.
It's different, right? It's totally different. It's not the same thing. Like I told her, I'm like, I remember getting significantly, like I wanted to leave the military. I was happy to leave the military. I put in my paperwork. I was okay with it. Came to terms with it. My wife and I talked about it, all that kind of stuff. I cried the day that my paperwork was processed when I realized I couldn't go back. Also because the month after I left, I did 5 years in the military and I left because I'm like, this place fucking sucks. We don't do shit. All I do is 1 weekend a month. We haven't done anything about. I left and a month later, my entire unit was deployed to Hurricane Harvey for like 4 months straight. and we were all still friends, and they were like, and of course you're texting them. I'm like,
Yeah.
how's everything going? And I remember one of my friends texting me from a shelter. I won't say who because he could get in trouble. He texted me from a shelter in Houston. He's like, dude, it's really bad. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, we have no food. We're surrounded by water. We can't get out. He goes, I ordered all the men in our unit to dump out their rucksacks in front of the people. And I was like, what's going on? He goes, our shelter was made for, I think it was like 100 people. He goes, we have 400 people here, and I'm worried they're going to riot and take our food. He goes, so we dumped out our rucksacks to show everybody we have no food. And I'm like, and I told my wife, I'm like, I was this close to getting in my personal car and swimming through the water, like, I'm coming. Because on top of everything else,
I'm bringing burritos.
what? I told you, on top of everything else, I was the medic of my unit. And I'm going to tell you something. That sucked so bad
Yeah.
to see, whatever you want to say, my men, whatever,
Well, it's
my
like-
friends
it's almost like-
suffer. And I was like,
And I don't
I wanted
wanna-
to suffer with them.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I'm not
killed
going to
me.
attribute. I'm not going to attribute this to like survivor's guilt, but it's kind of in the same.
It is
kind of almost
100% the same.
realm, right? It's like
It is 100% the same.
you feel guilty for not being down there with the group, your team, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what survivor's guilt was. I read about it. I knew about it. When I was in Fire Academy in 2013, same year I joined the military, I was in Fire Academy.
I didn't do Fire Academy. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
I
so
did it for a little bit.
I remember that. You were talking about that.
I did it for EMT.
We were class. So I went to EMT school first, and then I went to Fire Academy afterwards. Which the whole reason I went to EMT school first is because then in Fire Academy I got to have my EMT patch on, which I thought made me look super cool. And I was like, oh, this is neat. Like I already know this stuff. And honestly, it made it really easy going through school because in Fire Academy you do some EMT training, and I was like, dude, I was on cruise control.
Newbies.
Oh, I was on cruise control. Like the questions on the fire side were like so much. I already had my national registry. Like I was like peasants, you know. Like the people were asking me to help them with their test, right? But in 2013, when I was in Fire Academy, we had the West Fertilizer Plant explosion, and one of the guys from my Fire Academy died. And
Damn, you made me feel old, man. Were you in
Well-
Texas when that happened? You were in Arizona, weren't you?
No, not in 2013.
Damn.
oh my god,
I remember I lived outside of Cleburne, and just not to
no,
derail you,
go,
But
go.
me and my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, we lived outside of Cleburne,
Yeah,
and we
You could-
felt it.
yeah.
and we both looked at each other like, "What the hell was that?"
yeah.
That was, and I know people that they were there and they watched people die. Like they were just
Yeah.
in the right place at the right time, and it kind of went around them. That was intense.
So I was in Waco at Target shopping with my then at the time wife and kids, and my phone started blowing up. I was a volunteer fireman, so I was an EMT and a volunteer fireman going through Fire Academy, and I got like a whole bunch of texts on my phone all at once. It was really weird. And my my buddy who was a police officer here in Hillsborough, he called me. He goes, "Are you good?" I was like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Because like my parents were like, all I got was these random texts that didn't make sense because I didn't know. All I got was these texts that says, "What was that?"
You didn't feel it in Waco.
I was far. Well, I was inside Target. I was far enough away. I don't.
I felt it in Cleburne, which is probably farther away than Waco.
For all I know, I probably thought it was my stomach grumbling or like a thunder clap or something. I don't remember that. But I had all these texts. It was like, "Are you okay? What was that?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, so I called my buddy back, and I was like, "Dude, what's going on?" And he goes, "West just blew up." And I was like, "What are you talking
That's
about?"
an accurate description.
And he was like, "You need to get back here as soon as you can." And I was like, "All right." I loaded the family in the car, and we ran because I was a volunteer. I had like lights and shit on my personal car. I ran code from Waco all the way up 35, past it. And I remember taking, like, my wife at the time took pictures of the cloud. And I still have those. Like a mushroom cloud over West. And I had to drive to Hillsborough, dropped her off, grabbed my gear, threw it in the car, and headed out. If you go and look at the, like, footage of, like, all the news footage of, like, the football field at West, there's a little Hyundai Santa Fe parked on the football field, and you can see a dude in bunker gear walking away. That was on like Channel 25 News for over and over and over again. That's me.
Wow.
I got there, and it was hell.
West did get
That
really
was
nice.
the-
They did get really nice school out of it.
Well, yeah. The worst thing about that is because when I showed up, because you show up in a mass casualty incident like that, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on? Where do I need to? What do I need to do?" Because you couldn't get on the radio. Everybody was on the radio, and I showed up, and remember me telling you how cool I thought that patch was. I showed up, and they said, "You're an EMT?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Go to the football field. We have 700 patients," and I was like, "Okay." So I showed up. I didn't know where my guys were, because I wasn't with my team. I wasn't with my entire company. At that time, I had no idea that one of my classmates was a fatality already.
Oh, wow.
I showed up. I walked right up to the incident commander. They were having a little briefing. And as I walked up, I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" And the guy was like, "Da, da, 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 we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this." And some guy walked up to him, put his hand on his shoulder, and he goes, "They just found your brother. He's dead." To the incident commander. And the incident commander just dropped to his knees. And I went, "Oh, shit. This just got real." And they were like, "Just do the best you can. Go out there to the football." That's why they got a new football field, because we have no idea how many needles, sharps, or anything else was on that football field. So they bulldozed the whole thing, because that was our like mass casualty center.
What year was this?
2013.
Okay.
It was
It was
a couple months before graduation. The thing that tore me up, like I had a lot of, I left the fire service for about a year and a half after that. I graduated, and actually Lucy and I were just talking about this the other day, because I'm sorry, I'm like taking over the whole podcast here, guys. Sorry, like
That's all good.
Lucy and I were talking about this the other day, because she came home from school. She was super bummed that she hadn't done well on a test. My daughter wants to join the Air Force. She's like super high achiever. If she gets anything less than a 90, she like literally gets depressed, and I have to tell her, I'm like, "Girl, you're good. Like, keep hacking at it, whatever." She had a bad test day. And she came home and she said they had to, like, they were doing a swing, right, to like give everybody some extra points. And I told her, I said, I had a swing one time, and it was 2 months after West, when we came back for our final. We had to do our firefighter final, and the guy came in, and it was our entire class, and we were just beat, man. Like, I didn't think it was going to affect me as much as it did, but the 2 days before West blew up, me and the guy that had passed away, his name is Perry. And please, guys, go look him up and read his whole story. He's an amazing guy, and I love him to death. Miss him every day. But 2 days before West, we had a class day, and he and I had a fight over the stupidest, dumbest shit imaginable. It was over arguing over how to tie a bowline knot.
A what not?
A bowline.
Okay.
The dumbest thing that you could ever have an argument with a human being over. And it was like, "No, this is how you're supposed to do it. No, this is how you're to do it." And we got into this little tissy, and I said some things that to this day I regret. And we butted heads, right? It's not even, it doesn't even matter now. And I've come to terms with it. It's cool. We're good. But we butted heads over it. And then 2 days later, he was just gone.
If he hadn't died, would you ever thought about it again, though?
No.
I'm sure.
And that's what I had to come to terms with. And as everybody said, it was like, would the roles have been reversed? Would he have felt any differently? I'm like, no. And they're like, then that's what you focus on. But we went down and we did our thing, and we came back, and then we did our final test. And the instructor walked in with the dean from Hill College, and he goes, "Hey guys, we knew this was going to affect you, but there was 40 people in my class," and he goes, "Every single one of you but one failed the test. You had to pass the final to graduate." He goes, "Every single one of you but one has failed." And dude, like, as if
Every single one of you but one has failed.
Everyone
yeah.
failed except for one. Right?
one guy passed our final exam for Fire Academy. And dude, it was the biggest kick in the nuts. I didn't want to go. I thought about dropping out afterwards, and like all of our instructors were like, "No, you have to finish this." And it was like kind of a push, like for Perry, like all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just remember that moment. Like, I mean, dude, you ever seen a room full of men just break down and crying? Because we're like, nobody wanted to be there. We all failed. And the dean came in, he goes, "I'm giving everybody a 10-point swing." I told my daughter this. And then he was like, because if I give you all a 10-point swing, every single one of you pass. And he's like, I feel like this is warranted or granted, and you're gonna be okay. Of all of us, most of them all stayed in the fire service. I took about a year and a half off. I ended up coming back. I was a professional for a couple of years. Now my new job, I'm kind of getting back into the fire service, which I am immensely grateful for. I think it's going to be really cool to kind of get back into that community, because you're right, it's a family, and like when you get away from it, every single day that I see the fire truck goes by, dude, it's like ripping my heart out, right? And I got out because of back injuries, so it's not like I left because of other reasons, but I miss it every single day, and it's the same way with the military. I miss it every day, but like I didn't even go to my fire graduation, because when we graduated, they were going to give Perry's kids his certificate, like posthumously, and I told my wife at the time, I'm like, I can't go.
That's rough.
I'm like, I can't do it. And for years after that, like the entire fire academy, we were class 13, because 2013. We were the only class that doesn't have a plaque at the academy to this day, because nobody wanted to have a plaque, because we're all like, do we put him on the plaque? Do we not put him on the plaque? So we're the only plaque missing from the school. And so we are still to this day dubbed as the Unluckies. That's what we called ourselves.
Hill College?
Hill College. We were class 13, the Unluckies. And so if you go into the fire academy to this day, there's like 2001, 2002, there's all these plaques on the wall, and then 13 has nothing. But there is a space on the wall.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going from there. And yeah, dude, it's like, that's why I tell people, like, trauma bonding is a legitimate real thing. Like 2 months ago, I was going through Starbucks, and one of my buddies from Fire Academy, I just happened to like crisscross paths with him as we walked in, and it's the craziest thing,
It is,
man.
yeah.
Like,
So what you said is interesting. I'm actually going to be giving a presentation tomorrow about.
I'm sorry I can't come.
No,
I
it's
really
not-
wanted to come.
No,
to this.
but it's about rites of passage, like traditional rites of passage. And traditional rites of passage incorporate some type of trauma,
Yeah.
right? Like today, you say that and like, oh, you're talking about hazing and stuff, but historically, it was always a thing. A rite of passage, there was some kind of, and it wasn't necessarily like what you're talking about, like somebody has to die or something like that, but it was something you were in fear either of the unknown or of your life at some point with a rite of passage. And the thing is, like, it creates very intense social bonds for people that have experienced the same rite of passage. And they exist all across the world. Like there's a tribe in Africa, and they'll make their own, basically homemade bungee cords, and they'll create a tower.
That's
They'll jump off it.
insane.
There's
God,
okay, let me tell you this story, and this is probably a spoiler.
I knew a lot of things. Height is not one of them.
There's a tribe in Africa. When you turn 10 years old, you transition from a boy to a man.
Right.
And when you reach that age, the people from the tribe will go out into the rainforest, and they'll collect a specific type of insect. I don't know if you ever heard me tell
Is
this
this the
story.
thing with the gloves?
Yes.
Oh,
And
God.
so they'll collect a very specific type of insect. And once they collect them, they'll start weaving gloves with the insect's head facing out. So the butt is facing in. These insects are called bullet ants. Mm-hmm. There's a whole index. I think it's the Schmidt index. Maybe I'm butchering
There's
that.
a whole YouTube channel about that dude that does this.
that guy.
Yes,
But,
yes.
but it goes from 1 to 4. And this particular insect is called a bullet ant, and it's rated 4+ on this
Oh, my
scale.
God.
It is compared to being shot with a bullet, with a gun. But the thing is, this tribe will collect hundreds of these ants and put them in these gloves with the stingers facing in. So you're talking about, what is it? Probably fair to say like thousands of these stingers. And these 10-year-old boys will put these gloves on for 10 minutes and dance around and sing and beat these drums. While basically it feels like they're getting shot by tens of thousands of bullets over this period of time. Like literally, like their arms are numb for days, and they're like can't do anything with it. And they'll do this up to 20 times in their lifetime, right? But so that's like probably the most extreme example of a rite of passage that I've ever come across. But these things create these bonds between these people that have these shared experiences.
Yeah.
And so even like the military, right? The reason that they're so close is because they had these shared experiences, either in basic training or just being even taking people and taking them into completely alien situations. Like, hey, all these guys from across the United States are going to go to England, which is I'm sure it's a nice country, but you take these people and put them in unusual situations. They're going to bond over this. It's not traumatic necessarily, but it's a even putting people in unique like alien situations,
Right.
starting to touch psychological trauma, even if it seems small. And so it's just really interesting, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the thing that is lost on this generation is that more and more you have a disconnect from doing something from a team spirit or team mentality. My 7-year-old is doing football, and I didn't play any sports as a kid, partially because of my religion, partially because of being homeschooled, and my wife and I
Could have been quarterback.
right. So my wife, I always wanted to be a punt kicker. That was always what I wanted to do. Like even watching football games as a kid, I don't know why. That was the guy I wanted to be. But my wife, we went to a couple of practices, and she's like, "This sucks. Blah, blah, blah. It's so many hours." Blah, blah, blah. And every time he'd come home, my little 7-year-old would be like, he's like, "I hate this. Oh, it's hot. It's blah blah blah." And my wife's like, "This, oh, get over it." No. And then after we went to the first game, then she came home and she's like, "I don't think we're going to do this next year." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "He's not liking it. He doesn't love it. He doesn't blah, blah, blah. I don't have to fight him for it and everything else." I said, "Well, he can just suck it up. Like he needs to experience this. Like, I mean, it's a rite of passage."
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks go by. Now we're, 3-4 weeks later now, because we're doing football. I picked him up from practice yesterday. Or I took him to practice and I picked him up. And we're on the way home, and I'm like, "How was it, bud?" He's like, "Coach said I did a good job." And I was like, "Oh, yeah?" And my wife's like, "Why don't you get out of the car? Why don't you go stand down there?" I'm like, "No. He needs that time with another man. He needs that time with another male figure. He needs that time. He needs someone that doesn't say, 'Oh, I love you and I'm proud of you.' He needs someone to smack upside the helmet and say, 'Why'd you drop that ball? Run down there and come back.' What, blah, 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 blah. You're letting your teammates down." And that's what I got in the military, right? You need to be
we're all in the
torn
same
down.
boat, right?
Exactly. And I'm like, you need the tough love, right? So I pick him up and we're on the way home. And I was like, "Hey, this is sister." I told my wife about this. She's like, "You need to have a serious talk with him." And I did. But he goes, "Dad, I really like football." I was like, "Well, good, buddy. I'm glad." And he's never played any sports. He didn't want to do soccer. He didn't want to do baseball. He didn't want to do anything. He didn't want to play flag football. This is the first year of full contact football, right? And I was like, "Man, I'm kind of worried he's going to get hit. He's going to be like, this sucks." No, he loved it. He hit some kid last Saturday, hit him so hard the ball popped out, caused a fumble. We got it, and he's still jumping up and down. He's like, "Yeah, I got this." Actually, tomorrow we're going to be up in Grandview. We're going to be playing Grandview Zebras tomorrow.
Nice.
Having a good old time. And
Tackle the fuck out of those guys.
dude, he had so much fun. So I pick him up yesterday. We get in the car on the way back, and I'm like, "You like your game, bud? You having fun?" He's like, "Dad, I'm only doing it for the cheerleaders." I said,
Okay, whatever. Whatever your motivator is.
"Oh,
Yeah.
okay." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dad, I got 3 girlfriends now." I'm like, "Whoa, okay, buddy. Lesson time, right?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hey, Dad, or hey, buddy, you shouldn't have 3 girlfriends. That's going a little too far." I'm like, if you feel like you need more than one girlfriend, you don't really like the girlfriend you have, right?" I was like, "How do you think your mommy would feel if I had another mommy?" Right? And he goes, "Oh, she'd be so mad." I was like, "Yeah." You need to find one girl. And he goes, "Oh, well, there's one I really like." And he goes, "She's so proud of me doing football." And I came over to my wife. I'm like, "That's why you put your kid in sports." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "He's not going to end up with this girl. It doesn't matter if he does or
How
doesn't."
do you know?
I'm like, "It doesn't matter if he does." Well, it's hysterical because he's like, "Dad, my birthday's on Sunday. She's our next door neighbor."
Oh.
And he's like, "Can she come over to my birthday party?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, bud, of course she can." He's like, I want to put on something nice, and I want to go knock on her door and ask her if she'll come to my birthday party." And I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, "That's what you do. That's what you do." I'm like, "That's why you put your kid in sports." I'm like, that kid went from, "I just want to play video games and not do anything," and complained about it being hot and sweaty and everything else. Now, he would be pissed if we didn't take him to football. He would be pissed if we didn't go to the game tomorrow, because like he wants to do it. I'm like,
Well, these are confidence builders, right? It's like this.
it's rites of passage.
It's rites of passage, but the benefit to all of this is self-confidence. That's what's going to give you that momentum to do anything successful in life. Because it's the way the world is, you're not going to be able to do anything easy. You've got to fight for everything. And if you don't learn to fight for anything,
then you will fight for nothing.
You'll fight for nothing, right? And you'll be a slave to someone else.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So as parents, our job is to train up leaders, people who are self-reliant, self-sufficient, can take care of themselves, don't have to rely on someone or something else to make it through the day.
Yeah.
Right? Because self-worth is huge. Like if you don't have self-worth, then what's the point?
True.
So, you can say, well, there are so many different avenues you can take for
No. I'm good.
teaching our kids, like whether it's sports or learn how to work on the car or
Right.
anything that gives you, like, you learn something and you own it. You've put the work into it and you've got something out of it.
Right.
There's the ROI to it.
Yeah.
There's the return on investment. And as parents, that's kind of our job. Like, we're training up the next generation. Not just that, but it's our legacy. It's the legacy of our entire families. Like, we're just the next generation of a long line of human beings, right? And you don't want to let it end with you. Like, I dropped the ball, right?
But yeah.
So,
And
so
even
there's
though
that
I didn't play
incentive.
sports or anything, it's like I don't want my kid to miss out on those experiences.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't have them, but I had them in the military. And I told my wife, I'm like, I can't imagine what my life had been like had I had those experiences in school and then had them in the military. Right?
I'm
Like
not
that much more.
I'm not really an athletic kind of guy, right? But I've often thought if I had it all to do over, just knowing what I know, I would have did it all. Did
Yeah.
all the sports.
Well, that's why you told Lucy last time she was on. You were like, you're about to get into high school. Do everything.
Yeah.
Do not pass a single opportunity because it's your you were exposed to so much. Do all of it.
Well, you try baseball for a year. If it's not your thing, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you tried it. You tried to counsel for a year. It's not your thing. That's fine.
I told her to try out for football.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "Try out for it."
So a rugby team.
Well, I mean, I told her, I'm like, "What's the worst that's gonna happen?" She's like, "Well, I don't want to get picked on for being a girl." I'm like, "You're gonna get picked on for being a girl
their
anyway."
ass. Tackle the hell out of them.
Well,
they
I'm
give
not-
you shit. Tackle them.
That's what I told her. I'm
That's
like,
what it's all about.
You're gonna get picked on anyway, so you might as well make them like look up at you from the dirt.
Yeah.
She was like, "Well, I don't know if I'll like it." I'm like, "You don't know if you're gonna like anything until you try it."
It's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
We watched the Good Night Opie. Have you guys seen that? There's a great. It's on Amazon Prime. It's about the Opportunity and Spirit rover. It's a great little documentary. But in the documentary, of course, the mission was supposed to last 90 days, which I think is the craziest thing. They sent these rovers to Mars. They were supposed to like roam around the planet for 90 days. They ended up for like 15 years. Right? It's like the craziest story. But
That's not the craziest part of that story.
no, but in the documentary, that like in like the beginning of the mission or whatever, they have these like teenagers that won this contest to come to NASA and like watch. And then at the end of the documentary, they're the mission control specialists. Like these teenagers from high school that were just there to see it they're actually working at NASA later. And I told my daughter, I was like, she didn't remember this, but I'm like, in 2020, like, she and I watched Perseverance get launched to go to Mars to be the next rover. She was like, okay. I'm like, do you realize that like you could go work at NASA as the mission control specialist for Perseverance? She's like, wow, I didn't think about that. I'm like, you could be my age working for NASA with a rover that you had nothing to do with. But that means she's like, wow, that'd be so cool. And I'm like, and the only thing that's stopping you, go for it.
Is you.
Is you. I'm like, this is the greatest time in the world to be a kid. My God, I remember growing up as a kid and thinking like, oh, I want to be a this or this or this, and I'm like, oh, that's so hard. Now I look at it, I'm like, no, that was only me getting in my own head.
Yeah.
like I could have been a punter in the NFL if I wanted. Now I'm convinced of that. Like I always wanted to be as a kid. I'm like
Well,
I was the only person standing in my way of that.
Yeah, I don't personally believe that you can be anything you've ever thought. I think we all have certain skill sets and
Sure.
and aptitudes to things, and there's just some things that we're just not wired to do. And so I don't fall in line with you can be anything you ever want, but in the same breath, you can be a lot of things. And I think God gives us skill sets of things that he wants us to be. And as parents, we should be pushing our kids into the things that they already have an aptitude for. It just
Yeah.
makes sense that if you're going to be here, do something you like doing, that you have an aptitude for, that you enjoy doing anyway, instead of working in a cubicle or doing something that's
It's so depressing when you say it that
it's
way, but
like-
you're right.
I would argue that give me two people. Give me one person with an aptitude and one person with a work ethic. I'll take the person with a work ethic any day of the week.
Yeah.
Because this guy might be great at punting, but he won't show up for practice. This guy will show up and he'll punt and punt and punt and punt.
Right.
I want this guy because often you have people with natural aptitudes. And I'm not trying to be disagreeable.
No,
I'm saying, but they'll have the natural
well,
aptitude and they'll think,
to
well,
a
I'm
degree,
good
I
at it.
agree with that. For sure, attitude is a huge part of this. It's not everything. I mean, you can have all the heart in the world and just not have the ability to do something.
Sure.
So I think it's a balance, but absolutely, and there's plenty of examples out there of people who have incredible talent, but they're just assholes, right? They're just jerks. I mean, it's like-
Excuse me.
It's like
It was Bruce Lee, I
Yeah.
think. He's like, give me a guy that did 1,000 kicks one time and one kick 1,000 times, and I'll fear the guy that did one kick 1,000 times,
Right.
Or something like that, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's the same. It's the same mentality. Like, and I agree.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just do not have intellectually or physically. Like if you have a guy, he's confined to a wheelchair. He's not going to kick you through a wall. Sorry, right? But or mentally, like some people just mentally just cannot do certain things, and it's nothing against them. I'm sure they excel at other things. I'm not saying they're dumb by any means. But like I just whatever reason I cannot do math or I cannot spell or
Well, like you said, when they gave you like, oh, you're going to be in finance, you're like, well, are you sure about that?
yeah.
Did you
But-
kick ass at it?
Well, I mean, I guess
That's my point.
yeah.
Yeah, you kicked ass at everything. So it's like sometimes you gotta also, as a parent, I think part of being a parent is you're right. You know, go for it. My daughter has this expression. She always talks. She's like, I want to be the first woman to walk on Mars. Like that's Lucy's dream. And I tell her all the time. I'm like, let me rephrase that. I don't tell her, but I tell her all the time. I'm like, and the only person that can stop you from that dream is you, right? But let's be realistic. What's the odds out of 6 billion people that she's going to be the first person to walk on Mars? Pretty slim, right?
could be. Yeah, I don't know what this.
Right.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, you got a 1 in 6 billion chance, right?
It's probably less than that.
Okay.
but-
one in a billion,
sure.
right? Okay. So you got 1 in a couple million. It's still a lot, but if you push your children for that level of not excellence, but the pursuit of it,
Sure.
you push your child to the pursuit of it, even if they quote miss the mark. Like so I told her, I'm like, okay, so Mars is your dream. Maybe you don't get to put your footprint in Mars. But is it any less of an achievement to be like, oh, I worked on the mission that put the first person on Mars?
Well, I mean, how many more doors would be open with the attitude of that in mind? Like you're goal oriented, you have a goal set,
Exactly.
and if you didn't, you wouldn't have gotten anywhere close.
If
to
you
that.
looked at Mars and you said, oh, well, Dad, I've only got a 1 in a billion chance
right
of getting to
you're
Mars.
self-defeating, and you've already shot yourself in the
Then
foot.
the
before
answer
you even
is
start.
you're not going to get anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad used to tell me the story. He's like, who's the first person to walk on Mars or on the moon? Neil Armstrong.
Thank you.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong, right?
Yep.
And I was like, okay. He's like,
If you believe we.
yeah.
Here's
Tuesday.
that one.
Who was the guy in the capsule, the second guy to get to walk on the moon? Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
Who was the guy up in the command console, command module? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. Because those are the two guys that are famous.
Right.
John F. Kennedy got to go to now JFK Space Center, right? Not what it was called at the time, but he goes there and he was walking around and he's doing his thing, and he walks up to a janitor that's mopping the hallways. You ever heard this story? JFK goes to NASA and he's walking around, and there's this black guy that's mopping the hallways at NASA. And he walks up to him and he goes, "What do you do here?" Right? Which kind of a stupid question if you think about it, because he's obviously a
Got a
janitor.
mop in his hand.
And the guy is mopping the hallways, and this is great. Have you never heard the story?
Nope.
JFK says, "What do you do here?" And he says, "I'm putting a man on the moon, sir." And I told my daughter, I'm like, that is not a stretch. And that is, to me, that's the military mindset, right? It's like, you worked in finance. Did you fight the war on terror?
Oh, but I pay people too.
Yes. The answer is yes. You worked in
Right.
England. Did you fight the war on terror? Kind of. Okay, well, actually, I guess that was probably pre-war on terror for you, but like,
Well, there's been terror around.
but the point is yes.
Yeah.
If you're the guy that refuels the jet, are you any less a part of? I mean,
Well,
everything in the military is about being a
sounds
cog
like
in the
a-
wheel.
like
that's a big thing that the military feeds into you too. That you're a part of a team. That's
You're
what
a
basic
cog on the
training is
wheel.
about,
Yeah.
right? It's like breaking you down and building you up as a team member, not as an individual.
Yeah.
It's not about what your abilities
Everybody
are. or
focuses on the
inabilities are.
breaking down part,
That's
but
like-
you're
that's
right.
like-
The
was that-
other half of that is the most important part.
Was that Hell Divers?
Yeah.
Starship Troopers? Like, I did my part. I did my part.
I didn't do shit.
I didn't do shit. Yeah.
I love that meme.
That's the finance guys. Like, we didn't do shit.
Hey, I wouldn't have showed up to drill if you didn't pay me. So
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, like if you look at like World War II, it was like the whole country
yeah,
was a part of this whole thing, right? It's
from the scrap
it
metal
was-
drives
yeah,
to the
all of that
yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Rosie the Riveter, all that. So yeah, it is a mindset, and that's how you get things done. Is when you can point a whole lot of people in the same direction, you can get a whole lot of things done. That's what propaganda is really its whole basis, right? It's
Right.
to get people all pointing in the same, good or bad, right?
Sure.
I mean, we can all agree that propaganda, its whole kind of
Thankfully, we don't have
Existence.
propaganda anymore.
No, I'm so
yeah,
glad they
yeah,
got away
glad
with
that
that.
was
We've
eradicated.
evolved beyond that.
Yeah.
That never happens now.
Thank God they got a handle on that misinformation. crap.
So that was
Done with
that
that
was a
fake
bummer
news.
for a while.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But
Well-
yeah, it's an interesting. I love the fact that you guys are putting this together, and I'm seeing that there's a lot of people doing this, right? Like
Yeah.
in our generation, you saw the introduction into virtual relationships, and people are now starting to reject that. They want that more personal relationship with people because it's like, I'm starving from something. And I think COVID probably was a big indicator of that because up to that point, it was your choice to not interact with people. And now you're forced into this. And as human beings, we don't like to be forced into anything, right? Yeah. And so when you're put into this box that you didn't sign up for, you start reassessing your life and your situation and what is going on and start asking questions. And I think there's been a revitalization of just social activities that people are craving for. I think that's why certain things in town, like when they do the free concert series or
Right.
Ember or any of these other social kind of settings, people are drawn to those things because there's like, I just want a more physical, tangible relationship again.
Yeah.
And I think people are craving for that. So
I think the
kudos
same
to you
way has come
guys
with.
for,
I think the same
putting
thing
this
has
stuff
come
on.
up with like church more recently, or fraternal bodies and organizations like Jones and I do some work with volunteer work. I've heard more companies and people be more interested in volunteer work or community service or things like that than maybe it's just because I'm older, so maybe it's like part of like getting to this age, you start getting more interested in
You're
it.
getting up there.
I am. I feel like it, but like I feel like there's
He's the
more of
young
a
one on the
Yeah.
bear.
You wait. You just wait, buddy.
I know. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. But I think there is a stretch to like start trying to become more plugged into a community, not your community, but a community. You got to find one.
Everybody needs to be part of something.
Yeah, I mean, like you were talking about with Colton and Joe starting the bourbon group. I mean, it was literally just a group of guys that we were sitting at home drinking our own bourbon, and it was like, oh, this kind of blows, right? And then like COVID, I think really kind of kickstarted that because it's like, man, we're really bored. We don't have any like connections, any friends or anything else. I joined a fraternal organization with Jones around the same time period, Freemasonry, which we had a fantastic conversation about Freemasonry the other night. That's
You guys?
you have to come
Without
back.
me?
You have to come back for that one. That's a whole nother conversation.
I think almost 3 hours in, we can plug Freemasonry now. We can.
Yeah, no, like that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But no, like I and that's kind of what I was looking for. Is like I wanted another group, another community to kind of plug in with. But I do think that there's kind of been a revitalization, and everything in life goes in an ebb and flow. Everything kind of, peaks and valleys.
Everything in nature.
Everything in nature goes
Everything
that
is
way.
a balance, right? And it's not you can't sustain this balance all the time. There's always going to be
Sure.
You're always testing the parameters, right? Because that's just kind of our tendency as human beings is we're always exploring, right? Like we want to know how far we can take something.
Sure.
And we won't know that until we
You've been
push
there.
the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And so there's always going to be this ebb and flow. It's like, well, I went too far and we need to retract from that a little bit and get safe. And you're like, okay, I've been in this safe zone for a while. I need some excitement in my life. It's time to go push the boundaries again. And so there's always going to be this constant kind of ebb and flow, just like the ocean, goes back and forth. But I think that's how we get new discovery. That's what kind of feeds our desires to what else is out there, right? We have this, we're kind of wired that way. We're not wired to be like happy with the status quo and, I'm just living my little life in Pleasantville and
Yeah.
leave me alone. Ultimately, I think we all are seeking peace. We all just have different ideas of how to get there, right? And I think that's where we run into confrontation and stuff because you start crossing boundaries that people say, no, this is my compass, and you're going 180 from that.
Yeah.
We're going to have conflict.
Right.
But I think ultimately we, as human beings, we all are seeking peace and just leave me alone. Let me do, you do your thing, I do my thing kind of thing.
How libertarian of you.
Oh, no, well, okay. Another podcast.
Well, let's I've enjoyed this, but let's frankly, we've been talking about food a lot and I haven't ate since lunch. So
Are you getting hungry?
If I don't eat, I'm gonna be very cranky soon.
No problem.
So let's
Dude, seriously, Aaron, you're always welcome back.
Well,
We've had like
I had-
1,000 good conversations at the
I had
lounge.
zero expectations. I didn't know if we were all going to sit here and just stare at each other for an hour.
And that's the take on this is a lot of people come into this and they're like, oh, what's the plan? What's the topic and everything else?
there is no plan.
I was going to
That's the
say,
plan.
you can tell people like,
It's like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
it's like, it is just an organic conversation. I think the more we try to script this, the less real it becomes. Yes, I think it would be great to be able to hammer down a topic and really focus in on it. And you know what?
Maybe that will come later too. But
Absolutely.
I think you guys are doing a great job in that. With any new endeavor, it's better to kind of take baby steps, but fail fast too. Like when you figure out that something doesn't work, don't just keep hammering on it. Well, we got to make this work.
Yeah.
Let's just like pivot. It's the whole military aspect as well, and I think that's another thing. What is going to work for you guys is that you're going to fall back on your training of like, okay,
That's so true.
that doesn't work. Why we keep doing that? Let's go this way. The mission is to win here.
I think it'll be fun to kind of, as we play. Sorry, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I feel like it's redundant that you use the military as an example of not doing things that don't work anymore. But yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, well,
There was many times like, why the hell are we doing this still?
absolutely, absolutely.
I've always said that like the
Too big to fail, right?
Yeah.
the plan to this podcast for me was kind of triple fold. Like we talked about, like obviously it would be great to make some money off of this because it's a fun endeavor and something we enjoy. And why not do something that you love and get paid for it, right? So I'm never going to say unselfishly that that's not the goal to this. The second thing of it is also posterity's sake. We've talked about this before. Long after I'm gone, I want to leave something for my kids behind, or for just other people, or to encourage other people to
think
do
too,
this.
Even looking, I mean, you're looking way down the road, but I think a lot of things can be pulled much sooner than that. Like a year from now, coming back and looking at these episodes and
No,
going,
that's true.
just seeing how much you've grown from that point.
That's a good point.
Because if you don't go back and
Are,
look,
are you talking about my weight? I feel bad now.
sure, if that's what you want to talk about, like if that's your goal, right?
See how much I've grown from this. Like,
We need a second chair over here.
Remember when it was just two of us?
oh my god. Well, and that's the other thing we were talking about before. Is like now that we've also started having on like singular guests. I told him, I think it would be really a lot of fun to have on some people that I think would be entertaining to see together.
Yeah, sure.
Not necessarily people that are friends, right? Because part of the fun of this is like, I know him and I know you, but you guys had not met before today.
Right.
And like, I want to make sure people understand that. That organicness of conversation, you can't replicate. You can't plan.
I've been trying to talk him into doing other stuff also, because Andre was talking about how the bottom floor
no.
of the old high school is haunted. So I'm like, let's take it on the road. Let's do a ghost hunt.
Absolutely not. You're going to see me crying on the camera. That'll be the Blair Witch crying
I'm
podcast.
fine with that.
No, I
Well,
I don't.
I think too that would be one of those balancing things too. Usually, if you get 2 or 3 people here, and then you end up with 5 people, and then you're just like everybody's just talking over each other, and it just becomes a crazy.
It's fun
mess.
to watch people though that are
does.
like
Well,
into different things.
Yeah, and you also see different personalities kind of come out too. It's like you were always quiet, man. And you won't shut up about this whole podcast. You're like
He is usually very quiet, but I had Andre on, and I'm not gonna lie, I think that's the least I've talked on a podcast.
I'm surprised I'm pretty quiet usually.
No, the two of you guys, like, you really went in because like they get into like a lot of the
We
like
got pretty nerdy.
creation museum that's up in Glen Rose and like and it's
Honestly,
other stuff.
there's been several like this, but the ones especially with Andre, like that could have been another 4 or 5 hours.
Oh
like,
my
it was-
God.
yeah, that's like part 1, part 2.
Yeah,
kinda
because I'm such a big nerd with my science background, and he's got a science background. So
Well,
it's-
and
but
speaking-
they're separate. So
And speaking of backgrounds, so like I really want Aaron, if you're ever up for it, if you ever want to come back, I would love to have him come back because I want to let the cat out of the bag a little bit.
Oh man.
No, this is good. Hold on, I'm gonna cut back here so you can see him. Aaron and I have had some very in-depth conversations. We've never gone as far as like Sasquatch, per se, but he and I have had a lot of in-depth conversations as things as far as Hollow Earth.
why did you not leave with these
No,
things?
because it's the carrot. Okay. Because here's the thing: we just had a 3-hour conversation and didn't even get into any of that because you gotta get to like know people. But
You
like
can't just like hit somebody with double barrel right
yeah.
out of the gate. You got to like ease into it.
flat Earth, Hollow Earth, possibly faked moon landings,
Matrix.
the Matrix itself. We've had some really great in-depth conversations. Not religion as in like, oh, we're anti this or anti that. Just like really in-depth conversations about like origins of different things and translations and everything. It's really
just
been
as a
fascinating.
spoiler for the next episode, the Earth and the Moon are both hollow, and the Moon itself is a soul catcher to keep us all incarnated on the Earth from reincarnating elsewhere.
Is
So, you
that
know.
why Elon's trying to get to Mars to get out of the?
Exactly.
Oh my
exactly.
God,
He
you
knows.
guys,
he
you
knows.
guys.
Exactly. He just got to get outside the reach of the moon and the sun.
So can we count on Aaron coming back for part
Possibly,
2 sometime?
sure.
Okay, good. We'll provide the drinks next time, so you don't have to feel like you have to
Yeah,
every
but
time.
that was
I
pretty.
didn't
That
feel
was
like
pretty
I
awesome.
Had to. I
Aw.
love sharing, and
I
to me,
love that
it's-
about you.
It is with people who love to share as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because to me, this isn't. I like to be a part of things that there's some reciprocation, right? Like
Yeah.
ebb and flow. I give something, you give something.
You hear that?
all
So we
just,
have
like,
to have
throw it
something
all
next
out here.
time. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
Throw it all. No, not at all. Maybe
Nachos.
I'll do some research. I'll come up with another cocktail. We'll try that.
Well, I had a great time. I hope that you did. And I like I said, the point of it, like, now you're going to go be like, what'd you guys talk about? I have no idea.
You'll have to watch.
You have to watch,
Yeah.
right? Like, I don't know. And that's the whole point of this, is to have a great time. Jones has been a great, like, conversation starter for me, just because, I mean, you never know what you're going to get into.
No, you're right.
And
that's that's the exciting part about it. Right?
Yeah.
If you come into these things, and that, again, this is why I like the fact that there's not like a topic that we're going to cover. It's like,
Right.
okay, well, I got a plan so I don't look stupid in front of these guys.
no,
or
Andre was so worried about this. I need to know ahead of time what we're going to talk about. I'm like, dinosaurs.
You already.
He's like, what else? I'm
Talk
like,
about things that you know.
Well, as good as this conversation was, if I knew you were interested in like conspiracy theories, we wouldn't spend so much time on military and trauma bonding.
no,
I'm
it's
just saying.
okay. It's okay. This was intentional on my part, because, like I said, you got to slowly ebb into this.
Yeah, he's the gatekeeper on
Like
this.
the ice
I
going into
am.
like the ice.
I am.
You gotta.
It's like the ice. You got to wait till it melts
Gotta
until
let
it
it
fits into
slide
the
in.
glass. Make sure that once this does come out, if you had a good time. Oh wait, which, by the way, here you go. You got a fantastic sticker.
Oh, all right.
You got a sticker for you. You got to show it to the camera here. You got a fantastic Sasquatch sticker
Yes.
for the beer fridge. If you had a good time, make sure you share it online, because half the fun of this is like, if you're like, oh my god, I don't want my family to see this. Okay, cool, fair enough. But like, if you had a good time, make sure you share it out there and have fun. I would love for you to come back, because, like you said, there's the tip of the iceberg, and it's not even a tenth of. We stayed outside talking outside of the lounge last time till like midnight. My wife was blowing up my phone. She's like, "Where the hell are you?" And I was like, "I'm at a Bible study with
Calm
Aaron."
down,
We're like,
wifey.
"Yeah." I'm like, she's like, "She's gonna let me know if you're not dead next time." I'm like, "I was with Aaron. We're good." But
dead.
make sure
I'm dead.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm dead.
Make sure that you guys at home enjoying it, to like, comment, and subscribe. Obviously, you already have, if you're at this far part at the
Yeah, at this
podcast.
point, yeah, you're
Yeah.
one of us.
Yeah, you better be. You
Deeply
better
invested.
deeply invested.
You're behind the wall.
At least
of-
$8 invested.
At least $8, yeah. Which is great, because it goes to supporting us for having snacks, which I really have slacked off on it. I'm sorry. I need to get more snacks in here next
I'm
time.
gonna
I
rampage
didn't
your
see any
kitchen here in a
snacky
little bit.
snacks.
So, anyways, but I thank you guys for coming along with us. And if you had a good time with Aaron, make sure you put some comments, because otherwise he won't come back.
Yeah.
So good.
If you don't want to hear me, I ain't.
Gooses, silly gooses.